What is up, you all? I just wanted to show you my new sunglasses. All right, I'm a little bit red. I just came back from the park, but I really want to talk to you about Denver, Colorado, and this story. These migrant stories and what's going on in these sanctuary cities, they are just, it's every single day. You could almost make 10 videos about this a day, and the stories are just so ridiculous. It's so morally wrong. It's so chaotic. It's so backwards. You're like, I just, can somebody pinch me? Because there's no way. This just is not real life. There's no possible way this is happening, but in fact it is. Okay, so let's talk specifically about Denver, Colorado, because I read something yesterday and I just have to share it with you. So Denver, Colorado is one of the sanctuary cities. It's up there with Chicago and New York. They are getting a huge influx of migrants, and that is because by the way, I used to live in Denver, Colorado. It is a very, very liberal city. It is a self-proclaimed sanctuary cities, and just like other sanctuary cities, they have policies that are attracting people by the thousands. Denver itself, I believe, had about 38,000 migrants come through, which doesn't sound like a lot when you think about cities like New York or Chicago, but Denver is a fraction of the size of New York and Chicago, not only geographically, but also just the population numbers. It is a fraction, and they don't have near the amount of resources that bigger cities, even like Chicago or New York, have, even though those cities are also going bankrupt. So Denver was $180 million in the hole. They're having to cut services to all sorts of public services, parks and rec, and I'll play you the video in just a second. They also made an announcement. So Mayor Mike Johnston, he's the mayor in Denver, Colorado, made an announcement. I will try to put the stories down below, but you can also just research this on your own. Trust me, everything I say I have verified. So he made an announcement about a month ago saying that they're not laying off workers to offset the cost of the migrant crisis, but they are going to have to reduce some seasonal and hourly workers' hours down to zero. But don't worry, they're not being laid off. We're just reducing their salary down to zero. So let me just show you the clip of them talking about some of the services that are being cut. Keep in mind, they're also reducing employee hours, some of them down to zero, because the news that I have for you after you watch this will infuriate the crap out of you. So let's just watch what's happening in Denver right now.
The two Denver services.
Yeah, it's to pay for services for migrants that now call Denver home. You'll see rec centers cut their hours, the DMV cutting in-person services, and the city will also not plant its annual flower beds. As of tonight, the city has helped more than 38,000 migrants in the last year after seeing a surge last month. Your reporter in Denver, Jasmine Arenas, talked to the mayor about cuts to come.
Here's some of the things you'll notice. Regional rec centers like the Carla Madison Rec Center will be closed once a week. DMV closures and flower beds won't be filled this spring. Mayor Johnson says these cuts are because Congress wouldn't act.
Without any federal support, we have to now start operating towards that full $180 million gap.
Friday morning, Mayor Johnston.
Now, before we move forward, because you and I are smart and we actually know what's going on and we do our research, you might have caught something at the end of that news clip. You might have heard Mayor Mike Johnston say the reason we are in this situation is because Congress will not give us the money that we so desperately need. The truth of the matter is that most of the migrants in Denver are economic migrants. Most of the people coming over our border are economic migrants. They are not true asylum seeker, which means they have no legal basis to be in our country, which means that they are here to work. They're not technically seeking asylum. And the reason that they make the dangerous trek, the reason that they put themselves and their families' lives at risk is because cities like Denver, sanctuary cities like Denver, make offers that are just way too good to refuse. People, they know that they're able to break into our country. They can go to these cities. They'll get free shelter. They'll get free health care. They'll get free child care. They'll get free legal aid, free meals, free clothes, and the cities will take care of them. They know this. And the ones that are paying for it, unfortunately, are the taxpayers. So a lot of people, I like to call them asylum fraudsters. I know there's a few other YouTubers I've heard use the same term because they don't actually have asylum status, but they know that they'll be given a court date that they won't have to show up to for another few years, and during that time they can get a free meal ticket in Denver, and the mayor of Denver is allowing them to do so. Now here's the piece of news that I wanted to share with this video. Now you saw that all the services that are being cut. I also informed you, and you can look this up as well, that they are reducing hourly employees, some seasonal hourly employees, their hours all the way down to zero because they ain't got no money. Migrants are expensive. They have to pay for them, right? And also keep in mind, he's not calling on Joe Biden to close the border, which means that this problem will not stop and people will not stop coming to Denver. So they hired a woman named Sarah. Now, that announcement that they were cutting jobs happened about a month ago, and around that same week, probably at least within 2 weeks of each other, it was announced that the city of Denver, aka the taxpayers, are paying for a brand new employee. So while the regular seasonal hourly employees are getting their hours cut, while Parks and Rec are closing down on days, while DMV is closing down on days, they had enough funds to hire and create a brand new role. Now this role is the Director of Newcomers, and the woman who has filled that role, her name is Sarah, and she is starting at a salary of $175,000 per year. That is her salary, and here's her background. Her background was she was actually a business owner. She owned her own consulting business, and she was an immigration lawyer for about 15 years. And there you have it, folks. You often wonder, who are these people in charge? Why are they allowing this? Why aren't there more whistleblowers? It's because, unfortunately, a lot of people in this country, including this new Newcomer Director, they are benefiting financially from the mass immigration, from the destruction of our country. They themselves are being enriched. Obviously, an immigration lawyer has a very big incentive to make sure there is always a steady flow of mass migration to keep her employed. Obviously, this is working out well for her. Now, remember, she's not the migrant director, the asylum seeker director, the illegal immigrant, the asylum fraudster director. She's the newcomer director, because you're not allowed to say what they actually are. Don't believe your lying eyes, folks. They are newcomers. There are new neighbors, and now they have their own department. Also, I looked up her job duties, what her role will be. Her role is to ensure that all of these asylum fraudsters, the people that have no business in this country, are getting the resources they need, whether it's legal aid, healthcare, whatever it is they need, so that they can be successful. You don't get to be successful. We're taking your services away. We're taking your tax dollars away. But don't worry, they're being used to make sure the people that just broke into your country have a successful and nice time. Now, there's also one more point that I want to make about the city of Denver and how they're handling this issue. I completely disagree with how they're handling this issue. I think they are stealing taxpayer dollars from their own citizen, and the city of Denver is only getting worse and worse and worse. I personally have friends that still live there, and they tell me all the time, we don't even go anywhere near downtown anymore because it is that bad. And that's not even talking about the new influx of migrants that are now in that city. So what is going to happen when they do get people work authorization? What is going to happen when they are eligible to work? Where are they going to live? Most of these people are low-skilled workers. They don't have job skills. So what jobs are they going to have? How are they going to afford rent? Because ironically, the same cities that are calling themselves sanctuary cities, that are inviting all of these illegal immigrants into their cities on the taxpayer dime, they just happen to be some of our most expensive cities. Cities that American citizens with college degrees, with full 9-to-5 jobs cannot even afford to live in anymore and are fleeing. So not only, even if they do get jobs, they're still going to have to be on social services. How are they going to be able to sustain themselves? This whole situation is so unbelievably morally wrong. The people in charge of this are more